Again, the other day I visited a restaurant for breakfast, which was, I will be the first to concede, reckless extravagance. Unlimited coffee was part of the deal. I could simply refill my cup as often as I pleased without paying extra. As an inveterate and lifelong caffeine addict, this was just what I like to see. When I went for the first refill, I was astonished to see a sign on the machine warning that those who had chosen cocoa were not allowed to refill their cups. They had to buy another cup of cocoa. My first guess was that this was something to do with the soaring price of cocoa beans on the world market or something of that sort. But when I read on, the notice apologised for the situation, but said that their hands were tied. It was a new law. I have a habit of asking if I don't understand something or if I want to find something out. I've often found it's the best policy of all. I simply go up to somebody and ask them what's going on. I sometimes do this in the street if I pass people working. I'll ask what they're doing and how they're doing it and find out a bit about their job. It's a bad habit of mine. Anyway, it all seemed so improbable to me that I decided to investigate and ask the staff what was going on. Let's face it, cocoa is a traditional children's drink, and I know parents who will give their child a cup of cocoa but forbid them coffee on the grounds that it is a habit-forming stimulant drug. And this is true. Anyway, the member of staff to whom I spoke told me that a section of the Food Promotion and Placement England Regulations 2021, which is a statutory instrument, has recently come into force, and that there was nothing they could do about it. They were bound by the law. It all sounded unlikely, but I took the trouble to track down this obscure piece of legislation, to which I give a link in the description to this video, and I found it perfectly true. One can offer refills of coffee in restaurants, but not cocoa. It seems that coffee, which is heavily laced with caffeine, a drug which has a similar if milder effect to amphetamines and is highly addictive, is officially healthy, but that cocoa is not because it's usually mixed with sugar. What was fascinating is that this statutory instrument, which is legally binding, was drawn up in 2020 and 2021, at a time that one might have supposed that Prime Minister Boris Johnson had more pressing matters on his mind than people having a second cup of cocoa for free. But there it is. And since then, we have had two more Prime Ministers, and both have felt that this is something which needs to be dealt with. I just thought that I would share it with viewers in case they were minded to visit a restaurant with their children and be gulled into thinking that any sign offering unlimited refills of hot drinks might include that most hazardous of beverages, cocoa.